Imagine a motor so small, so light, and so powerful that it could force Tesla, BYD, and the entire EV industry to rethink the future of electric cars. If you think only Tesla and BYD are changing the EV world, then maybe the story is about to change, because this time the discussion is not about a startup, but about the company that has built its name in the world of luxury and engineering for decades. And now, the thing creating buzz is Mercedes and YASA Flux motor technology. A few years ago, people believed that the future of electric cars was only about bigger batteries and longer range. But now, the game is slowly changing. Today, the question is not just how far a car can go. The question is also how light it can be, how much more power it can deliver, and how much performance it can create in a smaller space. And in the middle of all this, Mercedes has quietly taken a step that is now getting attention in the global market. This is not coming from Tesla and not from BYD either. This move is coming from Mercedes. It is being said that YASA's Flux motor technology brings an idea that could challenge the traditional way electric motors have worked for years. Less space, more power, better efficiency, and a different engineering approach. These are the reasons people are now asking. In the future, will the real EV race be not only about batteries, but about motor technology too? What exactly has Mercedes done that it has been preparing so quietly for such a long time? Is this just a new motor or a move that could change the direction of EVs for many years ahead? And if it really is as big as people are saying, then how will Tesla, BYD, and the other companies respond to it? Before we move ahead in the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you can watch videos like this before everyone else. Not too long ago, the electric vehicle industry seemed to be following a very predictable path. The company with the biggest battery, the longest driving range, and the ability to travel the greatest distance on a single charge was expected to dominate the market. As a result, nearly every conversation about EVs revolved around batteries. One manufacturer promised 500 kilometers of range, another claimed 700. Some focused on ultra-fast charging technology, while others competed by offering larger battery packs at lower prices. Gradually, it felt as if the entire electric vehicle race had become a competition centered on batteries alone. And in many ways, that made sense. Tesla changed public perception by proving that electric cars could be quick, intelligent, and practical for long-distance travel. At the same time, BYD strengthened its position through advanced battery development and massive production capacity. Toyota remained committed to its hybrid approach, while Hyundai continued expanding its EV lineup with new platforms and modern designs. No matter the strategy, most automakers were ultimately trying to convince customers of the same thing. Their battery technology was superior, and their vehicles could travel farther. Yet, while everyone was focused on batteries, another approach was quietly taking shape behind the scenes. Mercedes wasn't making dramatic headlines every month or announcing bold claims at every opportunity. Instead, the company was concentrating on a component that rarely received the same level of public attention: the electric motor. Because although the battery stores the energy, the motor is the part that actually turns that energy into movement on the road. When people hear the name Mercedes-Benz, they usually think of luxury, craftsmanship, comfort, and performance. What many people don't realize is that the technology generating so much excitement today didn't originate inside a giant automotive corporation. It began with a small engineering company called YASA, and that's what makes this story particularly fascinating. From the beginning, YASA approached electric motor technology from a completely different perspective. Electric motors were already well established, and EV development was advancing rapidly. However, engineers kept running into the same challenge. If they wanted more power, the motor typically became larger and heavier. But if they reduced its size, performance often suffered. For automakers, this created a constant balancing act. Vehicle space is limited. Engineers have to accommodate batteries, motors, cooling systems, electronics, and passenger space while keeping weight under control. YASA set out to solve exactly that problem. Their idea was surprisingly simple. Could a motor remain compact while producing significantly more power? Could better performance be achieved without adding extra weight? Those questions pushed the company toward a completely different engineering solution, and that solution eventually became known as the axial flux motor. This is exactly why motor design becomes such a critical factor in performance-focused vehicles. But that naturally raises another question. If this technology had so much potential, why didn't Mercedes start talking about it much earlier? The answer may lie in Mercedes' approach to innovation. Unlike some companies that constantly make headlines with future concepts, Mercedes has traditionally preferred to stay quiet until a technology is fully developed and ready for the real world. In the premium automotive segment, being first is important, but being reliable is even more important. Technologies like this are not created overnight. Years of engineering work take place before customers ever hear about them. The process starts with an idea, moves to prototypes, then testing, durability validation, and eventually production planning. To the public, it may look as though a new breakthrough suddenly appears. Behind the scenes, however, the work often began many years earlier. Another reason could be Mercedes' premium positioning. The company is not simply selling electric cars, it is selling an experience. If future performance EVs are going to stand out, they need something more than larger battery packs and longer range figures. Long-term platform development may have also influenced this strategy. The foundations of future vehicles are planned years before they reach customers. If Mercedes intended to build the next generation of performance EVs around advanced motor technology, those decisions had to be made very early in the development process. And then there is the competitive landscape. Tesla continues to push innovation at a rapid pace. Chinese manufacturers are expanding faster than ever. In an environment like this, Mercedes likely understood that following the crowd would not be enough. The company needed a unique direction. That is why many industry observers believe the emergence of YASA technology was never a sudden move. Instead, it was the result of years of careful preparation and long-term planning. But now, an even bigger question comes into focus. Can this strategy help Mercedes gain an advantage in the next chapter of the EV race? Or will other manufacturers eventually begin moving in the same direction? And perhaps most importantly, which Mercedes vehicle will be the first to receive this technology? That is where things become especially interesting. Whenever a major innovation arrives, it rarely appears across an entire lineup from day one. This is particularly true for a company like Mercedes, which often introduces its newest technologies in premium and performance-oriented models before expanding them further. Because of that, attention is increasingly shifting toward future AMG electric vehicles. For most people, the AMG badge represents far more than luxury. It represents power, speed, aggressive acceleration, and a unique driving character. And that is exactly where this kind of motor technology could have the greatest impact. If a motor can deliver significantly more performance while occupying less space, the benefits become much more noticeable in vehicles designed around performance. But this story is not only about speed. Mercedes is also redefining what luxury EVs should feel like. In the early years of electric vehicles, the formula seemed simple. Install a battery, add a motor, and build a car around them. Today's premium market is very different. Manufacturers are paying increasing attention to balance, weight distribution, handling dynamics, responsiveness, and the overall driving experience. Mercedes may be trying to prove that future luxury will not be defined solely by bigger displays and longer range numbers. It will also be defined by the engineering hidden beneath the surface. This is where the company's performance EV strategy starts to become clear. Tesla built its reputation through software innovation and impressive acceleration. BYD built its strength through battery technology, manufacturing efficiency, and large-scale production. Mercedes, meanwhile, may be positioning itself around premium engineering and driving refinement. A lighter vehicle, faster power delivery, and more efficient packaging have the potential to transform the entire driving experience. Of course, that does not mean every Mercedes model will immediately receive this motor technology. New technologies almost always follow a gradual rollout strategy. They begin with limited production models, move through real-world testing and customer feedback, and only then expand to larger-scale manufacturing. Because creating a groundbreaking concept is only the beginning, the real challenge lies in turning that concept into a product that can be produced at scale and delivered reliably to customers around the world. Next phase of competition will shift from market share to innovation speed, pricing, and customer impact. YASA Flux Motor Tech may start in luxury EVs, but could eventually reach mass-market cars like past automotive innovations, airbags, ABS, touchscreens. Right now, it stays in premium vehicles due to complex manufacturing, but scaling could reduce costs over time. If customers feel better range, smoother driving, and long-term efficiency, many may accept higher prices. In the next 5 to 10 years, EVs could become lighter, more efficient, and offer longer range without bigger batteries.